What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about an extremely interesting rumor, and I gotta be real, I want to take this in a direction that's not even necessarily the rumor itself. Now, we will touch upon it, and we'll do it early on in this video, but I really want to look at it as if it is true. I think this is a good sign, and we'll spin off of it, going forward for PlayStation. I think this would be a really cool and interesting sign for PlayStation going forward. And so the rumor comes from the same individual, and we've talked about them in the past, actually. They're the ones who have leaked the Gravity Rush information. Now, to be fair to all sides, Gravity, it's not confirmed. I think it is going to happen. I do think Gravity Rush is going to happen. It seems very possible and plausible, right? But we haven't gotten it yet. And I do think, this upcoming May, when we get the, whatever it is, showcase state of play, I think a Gravity Rush 2 remaster will be there. It'll come out, all that jazz. So, granted, I would say, believe this rumor, okay? But it comes from somebody who's, I guess, relatively new on the scene in that department and doesn't have something that you can absolutely say, oh yeah, they're 100%, for real. So we can't say that yet. Medieval 2 is the rumor, and that it's getting a remake. Now, we have the remake for 1, and I think there has been enough almost behind the scenes stuff, like Medieval 1, the original, not even just the remake, right? That has made it on the Classics collection, I think, even last month or this past month. So just that alone signals, okay, well, why are you doing this? This underappreciated, I think, franchise back a long, long time ago, right? It seems like there's been some signs in that department that would indicate, okay, that franchise is still kicking. For whatever reason, that franchise is still kicking. And that's it. So the rumor is that, it's been in the works since 2021. It's getting a remake, and I believe they said, we'll see it also in May. There's some people going further and talking about, a shadow drop. From my research of this rumor so far, that part seems to have been, put into it. I think the original leak never said anything about it being shadow drop, just that it would be shown in May, just like Gravity Rush. So maybe it comes out in May, same day, they announce it, they release it. That's fine, but I wouldn't, expect it, I guess, at least right now. And I want to leave it there because, okay, Sir Daniel is a really cool character, and he was a real fun character to play in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. I tried to actually play the remake of Medieval 1, and I thought it was fine. I guess I'm just not, the most massive fan of the franchise, but I respect it. And is it cool to get the second game remade? It absolutely is, okay? I would never say no to something like that. However, and I made this joke, even on Twitter, and this spins off into, okay, well, what could this signal for the future? I don't know who at PlayStation has a secret, undying love for this franchise. Look, the first game is the most noteworthy and impactful. I wouldn't say it went downhill, but the impact it had on an industry was really not there after the first game. And it has always been considered, in terms of a franchise, as just, again, underrated, underappreciated, undervalued, whatever. So my point that I made on Twitter, and I'll say now, and to look at it optimistically, would be, is this a sign of more of those things to come? Of course, we have to, as always, mention Sly Cooper on this channel, right? But to be real, you think of the Slys and the Jack and Daxters, and I, of course, always bring up the PS3 era, the Resistance, and Infamous. Infamous, I do think actually will be back, but you look at Resistance, and you look at even Killzone that stopped in the PS4, or PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, and there's other examples. We haven't got a Twisted Metal game in over 10 years, right? There's a lot of franchises that died in the PS3 era, and even some in the PS2 era, right? Is this a sign that we could be getting these things? And number one, I would say probably yes. I could see it as some sort of push into that territory, right? Where it's we're going to take not even necessarily some risks, because here's, I guess, what it would actually signal to me that I think would be cool. Smaller projects that take less people, take less time, and take less money. And we always talk about that with PlayStation, really in particular. It's absolutely an industry-wide problem. But because of the Insomniac stuff, a lot of people, and even myself, I've made videos, right? We've kind of made it about PlayStation. They have a spending problem. Studios, they spend $300 million on Spider-Man, and although the game makes a lot of money, it costs an unbelievable amount to make it. So you're not really making nearly as much money as you should. You should be able to make $300, $400, $500 million from Spider-Man 2. Instead, you make like 100 because of the net profit, right? So what do they need to do? Well, they need to find ways of making big blockbuster games cheaper. That's one thing. But they can take these risks, if you even call them that, and go in and make some games that cost maybe 10 to 50 million, somewhere in that, lower range. They take 3 years to maybe, the rumors, the studio's been working on this game for 3 years. 3 years, under 50 million easily. The game's not going to sell amazingly, right? But it's out. It's, in a way, it's preservation. In a way, it's just, all of that, I guess, could be tied to preservation, bringing back and, established franchise, decades later, just keeping it around, right? A lot of it does actually tie back to preservation, but I'll never say no to that. I'll never, that's the kind of guy I am, especially as I get older. So I'm completely cool with it. I laugh at it a little bit because I will be honest, there are franchise in my mind, it's bias. I'm biased. There are franchises that deserve it much, much more than the second game in this series, okay? Much more than that. There's franchises that have been stranded for a long time. There's franchises that were more popular. Bias-wise, there's franchises that are better. Okay, that's stepping over a line maybe to some people, but I don't really think you'd find too many people to argue, like, can we get Jak and Daxter? Can we get Sly Cooper? Can we get, like, Ratchet and Clank's different, right, because that's still kind of ongoing, but there's plenty of PS2 era franchises. There's plenty of definitely PS3. I can tell you all about some PS3 franchises, right? There's a lot of them, and they really would not take a lot of money and a lot of effort, and I understand, like, I'm not there, I don't know it, but I when I say effort, I mean, again, less people. You don't need a team of 400. You need a team of maybe 50 people, right, to remake a game. You need a small team, small amount of money, all things considered, small amount of time. Not 5 years, not 6 years, not even 4 years, 2 or 3 years. It's not the way to go. You don't make every game like that, especially PlayStation, right? You got to have a little bit of diversity. It is one way to go, and it's a way to diversify your portfolio. And beyond anything, because I don't even know how, like, to be real, I've never played the second game, so I don't even know if it's good or not, okay? And I would try out the remake for sure, but I hope this is a sign of what's to come, because I think there's a lot of other franchises that would benefit from this kind of movement, as a company, initiative maybe is the right word for it, right? I would like them to do this with more things. And, to pick a game that's just so kind of weird. And I think even doing the first game was really almost a shock to a lot of people. I mean, yeah, he was included in All-Stars, which kind of kept him around. Obviously, he's always going to be around, Sir Daniel, right? But him being in All-Stars kind of opens it up to, like, a wider community. But you got, like, Parappa the Rapper, right? Like, he's still around, too. I don't know. I like it, even if I'm not thrilled with, like, the choice that we're hearing about. By the way, again, this is if it's all real. If it's not real, then I guess a lot of this stuff is meaningless, but I do believe it's real. I think even doing the Gravity Rush thing would be a good sign, right? Keeping Gravity Rush 2 around in a remaster. You could pick, again, worse franchises. It's an amazing franchise. It's a great game. It's one that never sold, and kind of sadly, right? Like, I would absolutely sign up for a Gravity Rush 3, and the director of that game did want to do a Gravity Rush 3, so maybe one day it happens. He's left, and the studio's been disbanded, but, I look at these as positive signs because this is some of the stuff that I want to see PlayStation do. So again, it is a little bit biased for sure, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.